Hey guys, it's ETA Prime back here again. It's been a little while since I tested some N64 emulation on the Raspberry Pi 4, so today that's exactly what we're going to be doing. I'm going to test 15 Nintendo 64 games on the Raspberry Pi 4 running Lakka. Now before we get started here, I am using an Ice Tower cooler for the Raspberry Pi 4. This is a 4GB model, and I have the CPU overclocked to 2.1 GHz. As for the controller I'm using here, it's the Retro Fighters Brawler. It connects over USB, and it just worked right out of the box. I didn't have to do any setup at all. And by the way, if you're not familiar with Lakka, I do have a full install tutorial. I'll leave a link to that in the description. But basically what this is a full standalone RetroArch operating system for the Raspberry Pi. Works on the Raspberry Pi 2, 3, 3B+, and the Raspberry Pi 4. So with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. So with each one of these games you're going to see in this video, I will have the name of the game and the core listed. Like I mentioned, I'm using the N64 Plus Next core, but when I started this out, I was swapping cores. Overall, N64 Plus Next works really well on the Raspberry Pi 4. The FPS is also listed in the top right-hand corner. These first few games you're going to see run really well on the Raspberry Pi 4, and there's really nothing to explain here. But when we get to the more advanced games, I will jump back in.
Fight! Round 3, fight! What's your work?
So here's Conker's Bad Fur Day. This is notoriously hard to run on ARM devices. This is performing better than the Raspberry Pi 3 or the 3B+, but I do notice some stutters every once in a while, and there was really nothing I could do about this. I tried running it from the SD card and an external USB 3.0 drive. I was thinking maybe it was loading, but unfortunately we're still getting some stutters every once in a while.
Let's go get him.
Yeah, let's get him! I'm gonna sting your butt! Get still!
Are you
Round 2. Ready? Fight. First attack. Hurry up. Time's running out.
Laps to go.
So in the end, N64 emulation on the Pi4 is looking a lot better than it did a few months ago. It's much better than the Raspberry Pi 3 or the 3B Plus, but there's still some work to do. Overall, I do think that we'll get some really good performance out of this, and as you can see now with the games I've tested, it's not bad at all, but it really comes down to the GPU drivers for the Raspberry Pi 4, and as soon as somebody comes up with something a little better, we'll have much better performance with all emulation on the Pi 4. So that's pretty much it for this video. I really appreciate you watching. If you're interested in checking out Lakka on your Raspberry Pi 4, I do have a full tutorial. Link for that is in the description and on screen now. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. But like always, thanks for watching.